Good morning. Welcome. Today is Sunday, March 29th. How's it going? How you doing? My name is Angela. I am a front-end developer and a software engineer in St. Paul, Minnesota. Welcome. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the Sunday stream. We do vanilla here. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We just practice. That's it. We're just practicing. Gogo Elmo is here. Malik Robinson is our mod in the chat. Good morning, Malik. How are you doing? I'm not ready. I mean, I'm ready. Okay, to be clear, I am ready. I don't have my files pulled up yet, so let me do this while I talk because I'm feeling pretty good today. Having one of those days where I got up early, I basically started the stream on time. It's a beautiful day, and I feel like I have my shit together. It's such a good feeling. Such a good feeling. So what are we working on? We are working on something called, this is our ChatGPT conversation from yesterday. Hopefully we don't need him or her. Let's do this. There we go. What is ChatGPT? I don't think ChatGPT has a gender. Okay, so we're working on this project called 30 Days of Vanilla JavaScript. I'm going to put this in the chat. It is linked down in the description. In April, starting April 1st, which I think when is April 1st? Is it Tuesday this week or Wednesday this week? I think it's Wednesday this week. Yes. This week on Wednesday, April 1st, I am starting something that I am calling the 30 Days of Vanilla JavaScript, where I take a prompt every day and I work through that prompt. I build the thing. I am using ChatGPT to help me with the prompts. This is all in an effort for me to actually be better at JavaScript. Thank you. Welcome, Caffeine Cowboy. Yes, Wednesday. This is all in an effort for me to be better at vanilla JavaScript. And I asked ChatGPT for the first 10 prompts just so we could start styling some UI elements ahead of time. We're also building a website for this project. Yesterday, I stopped styling UI elements because I got to a point where I was like, it became very obvious as we were styling these first few elements that what I was doing was really part of the process of understanding JavaScript, right? And I've always known this, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, they all go together. When you're writing JavaScript for the DOM, for the UI, which is what I'm doing, I'm a very UI focused front-end developer. The HTML is so important. The markup for accessibility, SEO, it's so important. It's the first piece in writing the JavaScript. And if you've spent any time on this channel, when you see me do a project, I am fully flushing out the HTML first. I am talking about accessibility. I'm taking into account the SEO considerations, mostly accessibility, but those two things do go together. And I'm always planning, okay, I want this behavior. So how does my markup have to look? And what is the CSS going to do? So many things that you can do with CSS, you can also do with JavaScript. I am of the belief that it should be the CSS that does the heavy lifting. So I'm a very click event focused developer because I think that that is the best approach. So that's how you're going to see me dealing with things. But in order to do that, you have to do all the planning with the HTML and the CSS first before you even get to the JavaScript. That's literally the last piece of it. So as we were going through and styling these things, it just became obvious yesterday that I should stop styling. And the chat agreed with me that what I was doing, planning out the markup and the CSS, was an important part of the process. So we got to about this point here. Oh, you can't see that. We got to about this point here. Let me zoom in. the toast notification system. So I have everything styled up till day 6. And I think at this point in the process, we have done a good job building out this site. We have a lot of styles implemented. There is going to be styling certainly moving forward as we solve prompts and we have a UI element that goes with that prompt. But I think that you all seeing me plan out the markup in the CSS is as important as solving the JavaScript prompt. So interesting to me. It's like I knew that, but also I had to discover that. It was a fun discovery though. I liked it. And good morning, Caffeine Cowboy. I'm so happy to have you. When deciding on this task and learning task, did you think about using JavaScript for the basics of the site itself, creating DOM elements from objects, etc.? That's such a good, I mean, I didn't. That's a great question though. The reason why is because I didn't want the tasks to be about building the site. I wanted the site to be built first, and then I wanted the tasks to be individual items that you could look at. That was really how I structured the project. I think you bring up a good point though. I wanted it to be I wanted this site to be a resource, right? So I definitely will make this, the series of streams that I did to build this site, I will definitely turn that into an edited project video. I'm way behind on my editing, but that will happen. But I still want the site itself to be how I build websites, which is mostly static. Oh, I meant more for yourself than the future user. You know, that's a good point too. Everything I do in the stream is for the future user, if I'm being honest. That's like my YouTube strategy. But I think I do things for myself. It is closely intertwined with my strategy for YouTube though. Those two things are kind of blurry right now, if that makes sense. They're closely linked. But I think that you bring up a good point, and I am definitely open to that approach for a future set of videos. So when we finish 30 days of vanilla JavaScript, we have to go back to finishing our Colorado project in May. So maybe after the Colorado project, I'll take that approach, right? If this is about me being better at vanilla JavaScript, maybe I should build a site where I'm creating the DOM elements. But as I say that, I'm just thinking to myself, you can't do that if you don't know what the markup is first. So I would still take the approach of writing all the markup first and then going and taking the markup I've written, because the HTML and the markup has to be planned. It deserves its own time. It has to be planned. And in order to create DOM elements and build a site that way, you still have to do the markup planning. And I'm not implying that you're saying I should skip that. You didn't say that at all. I'm just thinking out loud. But I think that that's a really good point. And I think it would probably be good to do that with a future project. I also want to do more API work, right? Because a huge part of being a front-end developer is APIs and massaging data. Whoa, massaging data, let me tell you, the API work, even when you're just doing like a GET request and you're not even sending data back to a database, so much of that work is massaging the data in the API. If you're using third-party APIs, you are never going to have access to the developer to change the structure of the API. Almost never. If you are very, very lucky, like I was at St. Thomas, my last job, I did have access to the backend developers who built those APIs, and I could make requests on restructuring. But even then, that was only when the API was new. If I was working with a legacy API that had already was established and built for many years, I was left to my own devices. I had to write my own methods. I had to massage that data. And I learned so much doing that. And that is also a very important part of front end development. And I know I need to be including more of that type of content as well. So this is all part, I'm baby steps. I get overwhelmed just thinking about it, but for sure we're going to do it. Oh my gosh, Codex, I forgot to look. Good morning. I forgot to look at your site. Hang on. Okay, we'll do it now. Yeah, the main structure and the more repetitive sections. I honestly think though that you have such a good you have a really good idea, Caffeine Cowboy. I think that it would be a cool video to actually. So here's how I would do that. I would still spend a day like I normally do planning, like writing all of my HTML. But then once we knew what that HTML was, we could then go into our JavaScript and do the create elements, right? We could definitely do that. And it would be even better if we had an API to work with so we could pull in that dynamic data, right? Whether that's a JSON file that we make ourselves or if we go out and find a third-party API, which there's lots of places to do that, or if we sign up. I wouldn't want to sign up for something with an API key because I don't want to deal with exposing keys. Just a free API or one that we make ourselves with content would be a good idea. Good morning. Good morning. Shonazara. I hope I'm saying that correctly. You're not correct. You're not telling me I'm doing it wrong. So, okay, hang on one second here. I left myself a note and I still didn't look at your link last night. I'm so sorry. Okay. So full disclosure, I really don't click on links that people send me. Codex asked me though if I would look at something and I said I would. I always check links in VirusTotal. I'm just going to be very transparent that and promote that we should all be practicing good link hygiene. Is that the right word? Good link hygiene. So here's the link for the color picker that Codex sent me. Let's just scan it with VirusTotal to make sure it's safe to click on. No security vendors flagged this URL as malicious. Okay. Accessible color palette generator. Sure, I'll accept the cookies. So Codex, did you build this? That's my question for you. Or was it a recommendation? I'm honestly not sure. Random palette. So I'll go ahead and put this in the chat if people would like to check it out. We did run it through. I'll just make a note in here for the replay. VirusTotal scanned and clean. This looks really cool. So random palette, and it gives us accessible. Look at this. This is a really cool website. I'm sorry it took me so long. Sometimes it just takes me a while. So we've got random palettes. Discover beautiful color combinations your whole audience can appreciate and follow web content accessibility guidelines with ease. The color pairings follow WCAG 2.1 AA based on a contrast ratio 4.5 to 1. The pairings have sufficient contrast for use with normal text, large text, and graphics. And it gives us the ratio and black text. So what if we wanted white text? Could we switch to white text? Vibrant, monochromatic, contrast. Generate an accessible color palette. And I will definitely use this. So Codex, I don't, you were here a couple minutes ago in the chat. Let me know, is this something that you built or was this a recommendation? Either way, this looks really cool. Thank you for sharing this with me. And I would definitely use this. I would definitely use this in the future. So what if we were putting in, does this mean that we can put in, it's just a recommendation. Let's see here. So here's the yellow. Oh, look at that. I like this. I like this. This is a cool recommendation. Thank you. Appreciate it. Again, sorry it took me so long. Yeah, I will definitely, we'll go ahead and bookmark this. I like it. I'm good with the colors that we currently have, but I will use this for future projects. I think this is, it would be cool to just come in and do like a random palette, like, and just take those colors and use them, right? So it must switch automatically to white text based on, yeah, based on the type of contrast. I like this. I like these colors. I like things that are a little more muted. Yeah, it switches between white and black depending on contrast. That's cool. Nice. We will tuck that away for a future project. And Caffeine Cowboy says it's almost like showing how libraries like React, Svelte, Angular, etc. do without all the behind the scenes magic. Yeah, I do agree with that. My opinion on frameworks changes from day to day. I think where I've landed is that I know that they are absolutely important. They provide a lot of continuity and consistency. There are so many things that I would not want to do with vanilla JavaScript, and there are so many things that I would only want to do with vanilla JavaScript. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think it just depends on your comfort level and your experience. And let's be real, we're all just trying to figure it out, right? I can only share my experience and let you decide for yourself. That's where I'm at right now in life. But I don't think I've ever come on this channel and said, oh, you should be doing X. Well, yeah, okay, yes, I do. I do sometimes say you should be doing X, Y, Z. But I think I also try to say like, hey, just learn it and see what works, right? But certainly there are best practices. Okay, Angela, you're rambling. So let's get back to finishing our layout and doing some QA testing. The other thing that we do need to do is we need to make sure that we have Prism. Do we want to do Prism again? We've done it in the past. I like Prism because of the syntax highlighting. This is one of the few times you're going to see me using a library because I do like the syntax highlighting if we're going to put code snippets and solutions on each of these pages. We could just style our own pre-formatted text blocks, but I think without syntax highlighting, that stuff, it gets confusing. So we're gonna grab this script and use it and make sure that that's styled today. And Caffeine Cowboy says, besides, without knowing basic JavaScript, the libraries are near impossible to master. Yeah, I totally agree. My experience using Vue.js is that Vue often is a wrapper for vanilla JavaScript, especially when I think about all the massaging of data and API data that I've done. Um, I was just using vanilla JavaScript within a Vue wrapper is how I think of it. Um, yeah, nothing wrong with a good library or framework, but I don't know how. I agree. I don't know how you use those libraries and frameworks without actually knowing how to do the thing itself. It's kind of like Tailwind Bootstrap Foundation. I don't know how you use Tailwind not knowing CSS. That makes no sense to me. But I only see it from through the lens of somebody who learned vanilla CSS first before anything else. I started learning how to do this in 2009, for the love of God. Of course, I mean, I hope that that makes sense why I mostly lean vanilla. It's because that's when I started learning. It's when everything was vanilla. So there's that. Okay. Well, let's just get back to our styling. We have a little bit left to do here. Our navigation is basically done. We are going to write a little bit of vanilla JavaScript today to handle our navigation. Before we do that, though, can we just finish styling the footer and what's going on down here? I did not write any content for myself. Nano Kia is here. Ice, ice, baby. I don't know what that means. There's a smiley face there. How's it going? So happy to have you. You were here at the very, very beginning, Nano Kia, and then you've been off doing your own thing. That's cool. I know how it works. I understand how things work on YouTube, but you're back again, and I so love that. So, because you are a very experienced developer, and I enjoy having you here. So, I love all my people. I love all the people. Let's style this little about section, and then we'll write our vanilla JavaScript. Oh, vanilla ice. I love vanilla ice. Listen, I'm old enough. Song, got it. No, I know the song. I know the song. I just didn't know if it had an alternate reference that I was supposed to understand. So, but I everything in my opinion that was like uncool about the 80s and 90s is now somehow cool again. Vanilla Ice, I'm here to tell you, even though that was a big hit and he was like a big hit in the late 80s early 90s, it was not exactly cool to like him. And now it's somehow cool again to like him. So all the things that are coming back around are just wild to me. So so there's that. Okay. Hey, hold please. Hold one moment. Okay. So let's get this style down here. I did not remember to write content for myself. That's fine. We'll go ahead and get it. We'll go ahead and get it styled, and I will write some content before the first. Now we're going to do a little bit of extra work in the header. I was very happy with what we got done yesterday. Very happy. I would like for our SVG logo to not resize. I think it's a better approach that the text is clamped and resizing, and it can absolutely wrap. I think this is a great experience. And even without that change, we still hold up well under 300 pixels for a mobile screen size. That's excellent. That's chef's kiss. We're killing it. We're killing it. Okay, hang on. Let's get this going here. Oh, and let's make sure that we're actually working on the development side of things. Okay. We also need to get our folder structure kind of ready to go here. I could do that offline. That's wouldn't be a bad offline activity if we don't get to it today. Stop. So here's the About Me wrap. So About Me. About Me dot wrap. This is going to be the parent container. I think I'm just going to do display grid. Grid template columns. So we've got our figure and our div. Maybe 1 FR, 2 FR. Yeah, that works. And then I just need to write more content. Oh, this should be in paragraph tags. We'll put in a couple paragraphs of lorem ipsum. And then I will write content before Tuesday when we deploy. Okay. And so we have a wrap here. I think we should also give this a section class so we get some of those styles. There we go. Let's make sure that this has a gap. I'm telling you, I am by no means a grid expert, but my gosh, it is so quick and easy for layouts. Unreal how quick and easy it is for layouts. And we have Malik Robinson to thank for that, because he is the one who asked me to please start using Grid. Or really, he just asked me to use Grid in one project after a decade of Flexbox. And such a good suggestion, because it has honestly changed how I look at layouts. It really has helped me think so much clearly about when Grid is appropriate and when Flexbox is appropriate. And there are times, I mean, I'm not going to go into it now, but it's kind of wild to me how it really helped me see layouts in a much different light. I don't know. It was a great thing to learn how to do. So let's make the image a circle. So we'll do About Me, figure. Honestly, I want to make sure that this is always a square. The image is organically a square, but let's just lock that in. So any image would fit in here. Any proportion would fit in here regardless. So I'm going to do width 100%, height auto, aspect ratio 1, so it's a nice square. And then we'll style our image. I'm going to say width 100%, height 100%. We'll do a border radius 50%, and then object fit cover. I think that'll give us a nice little circle. There we go. I'm gonna do something that I did on my website, which I kind of like. I'm gonna do this border over top of the image, this dashed border over top of the image, and I'm going to use the light teal. And the best way to do that is with a pseudo class, but you cannot put a pseudo element, but you cannot put pseudo elements on image tags. So we have to do it on the figure tag. So in order to do that, it is going to be absolutely positioned, which means the parent needs to be position relative. And then we'll do About Me, figure, and then we'll go after. And you have to have the content property because pseudo elements before and after were, their original intent was to add content before or after an element. And it's not in, we do that a lot with tables and responsive style tables with data attributes, but be very mindful of the fact that this type of content is not really accessible in the DOM. So just be very mindful of how you're using this. And I get into this more in conversations when I'm building accessible responsive tables with data attributes, and maybe I should do like a dedicated video really sharing that, but just don't put a lot of content in this property because it's not actually accessible. But for the purposes of just using before and after, this property, even if the value is empty, must exist in order for it to work. That's my point. I'm over explaining, but there it is. Okay, so this is going to be position absolute. I'm just going to say top 0, left 0. I want the width to be, I think I want the width to be 100% minus 2 rems. The height would be 100%. Bear with me. I sometimes have to relearn how to do this. And then this would be in 1 rem. So the top would be 1 rem, the left would be 1 rem, but the width and the height would be minus 2 rems, and that accounts for the space all the way around. And then, of course, we want this to be a border. I'm going to say 3 pixels, solid, light teal. And then we probably need some z-index. So I'm going to say z-index 0 and z-index 1. So we have the correct stacking order. And then we need to make sure, oh, this needs to be dotted. And then we need to make sure that there is a border radius of 50%. There we go. I love it. I love it. It's so cute. I just try to do like little, I don't know, I just try to do like little, what's the word I'm looking for? Just like little UI tricks. Is this circle even? I don't, why does it seem like it might not be even? Let's look. It's because, okay, why is our aspect ratio not, our aspect ratio is not perfectly square. Why is that? Oh, because, wait. Is it because our images are not display block? Boy, that's kind of a rookie mistake. There we go. So display inline block and display inline add space, which is technically the line height beneath whatever it is. Normally, I always say display block, and I forgot to do it this time. So we made our image display block, and now we don't have that extra space, and we have a perfect square. because for a perfect square, you should only need aspect ratio 1, which, by the way, speaking of suggestions, and speaking of the fact that Nano Okia is here today, he is the one who told me about aspect ratio, because I used to do the height 0, padding bottom, percentage hack to get my images to be the correct aspect ratio. And he was like, why don't you just use the aspect ratio property? So thank you to that. We love the chat. Okay, so now this looks even to me. It didn't look even before. Now it looks nice and even. So I will write a little bit of content in the next few days, and then let's make sure that this is responsive. And I'm going to use 960 because I feel like that's the breakpoint that we kind of settled on yesterday. So we're going to be adjusting this. So we don't need this. And I'm just going to change this to 1FR. And we're not going to need this. And I'm going to change this to 1rem. Okay, a couple observations. So I think our media query needs to be even if it was 1024, I think our media query needs to be a lot sooner. So that's 1500. That's 1400. 1300. 1200. I'm going to write a media query for 1200. The other thing I'm going to do is I don't actually want this picture to be that big. So at 1200, I think I'm just going to So what is that? 349. I'm going to change the width. I'm going to do this. We don't need these. Don't need this. I'm going to change the width to 350 pixels and just do a max width of 100%. That should keep it nice and responsive. We also should do, let's just do margin, probably do what, inline? Auto? Is that the quick way to deal with it? Yep. Should be. Is there something else causing overflow? No. Why is the image? This should make it responsive. Why isn't it? The column is fine. Should we just do this? I feel like that should work. Okay. So we'll just leave it at width 100% and we'll change the max width to 350 pixels. I don't know. How would I know? How would I know? I just work here. I like it. Okay. I'm not going to do anything else down here with the footer. Okay, I had one other idea. We got time. I had one other idea for what I wanted to do. So originally I put like, we alternated the background of the sections, and I changed my mind. I decided I didn't like that. So I was thinking, what if we put like just a subtle border in between each section? But in order to do that, I want to do that on the section element itself, but the sections are full width. And I heard a noise outside. I don't want the border to be full width. I only want it to be as wide as the wrap. But spacing wise, it's going to be easier if I do it on the section. So I put the wrap on each individual section, and I'm going to undo that and put it around all the sections because I can and I want to. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try it. So it's going to be, so here's our flex container, here's our nav. The wrap is going to be around could we just, I feel like we could take these wraps out and just add wrap here. What are the styles for the section container? Oh, no, that's not, I don't think that's going to work. No, we still need to add a wrap inside the section container. Okay. So this is going to get a little tedious, but that's okay. That's life. Life is tedious. Okay. There we go. How do you do, hang on. Nope, that's not what I want. I want to remove those spaces. There we go. Regex to the rescue. Okay. So now section container. I screwed something up. I missed one, I think. Okay, let's collapse each section. So I think this is okay. This is okay. Okay, I think this is okay. That's okay. Okay, that's all right. All right. All right, that's okay. VS Code cannot save you from yourself. VS Code cannot save you from yourself. Right, I think I forgot to take this out. Main div div, main div div. There we go. So I think that our wrap goes inside this section container. It's scary changing markup this far into the process, but it'll whatever, what's the saying, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Okay, so it should look exactly the same because we still have a wrap. Main, flex container, nav, section container. And then here's the wrap. My borders are still going to start way over off to the side though. But, yeah, is that what I want? Is that what I want? Okay, let's look at our unblemished version. The one I haven't screwed up yet. So here's the section. Here's, see, that's where I wanted it. So maybe I do want it. Maybe I do want the wraps individually there. I just can't put them at the bottom of the section because of the spacing. um, okay, I'm officially no longer going to implement this idea because it's a terrible idea. And um, I don't want to mess with my markup anymore because I have better things to do. So there's that. Okay, so let's work on our navigation and the JavaScript. Hold please, one moment. Okay, let's get our JavaScript going for this navigation. So full disclosure, um, I've I feel like I've perfected my system for mobile navigation. So let's go grab it. Let's go grab the JavaScript that we use for mobile navigation. Where would I like to get this from? I don't know. It gets a little bit better every time. I recently redid the navigation on my own website. So let's look here. Yeah, this is a little different. Let's just grab it from the project we were just working on. Although this has like helper functions, which I don't exactly want to do. We'll grab it from the project before that, which is a little cleaner. Yeah. So this is what I do. These are the two things that I do right here for my JavaScript for the menus. So we've got two buttons. We've got an open button and a close button, but then we also have this class menu button. So I create an array of both buttons. And I realize if you are here and you have more experience with JavaScript, there's more than one way to do this. This is the way that I do it. It makes sense to me. I'm comfortable with it based on my intermediate level knowledge of JavaScript. So bear with me if you think that there is a more efficient way to do this. This is just how I do it. So I create an array of both buttons, but I also target just the open button because I want to do that toggle based on the open button initially, and then we toggle the menu. So I'm gonna we'll write this out line by line. And then let's refresh our memory on what these classes are because sometimes I forget. So our button is menu close, menu button. But then we also have right here, menu open, menu button. And then the attribute that we need to change with our JavaScript is right here, aria-expanded. So when the nav drawer is open, we change this to aria-expanded true. When the nav drawer is closed, it is aria-expanded false. So we are also going to control that. And then we are going to toggle menu active on the body. And that's where all of our styles come from. Okay. So we're going to get that body. There we go. And then we're going to get the buttons. What is it? Menu button. And then I want the open button specifically. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is we'll write a function. I'm going to call it menu toggle. And first we'll just check to see if the button is even there. If it's not there, we'll return and just stop. And then I'm going to for each through both of the buttons. And then I'm going to do a click event. So button, add event listener, click, and then I'm going to create a variable called isActive, and it's going to be the toggle for the menu active class. So isActive if it's toggled on, it's true. isActive if it's toggled off or doesn't exist, it's false. And we'll use that for our aria-expanded attribute. So this is going to be body class list toggle menu active. And then I'm going to say if is active. So if is active is true. On that open button, I want to set the attribute aria-expanded to true. And true is a string in this case. Else open set attribute aria-expanded false. Whoops. And it's a string, not a Boolean. False. And then document, add event listener. We'll go ahead and initialize this. And we'll check and see if this works. And Nano Akia says, I may want to consider adding an aria live to announce the menu change. Would you be offended if I asked ChatGPT about that? Or could we just look at the, we could look at the MDN documentation. I would like to know more about aria live. I'm a bit of a minimalist when it comes to aria. If you haven't already, I don't like to add a lot of things that I don't have to if I don't have to. That's how I feel about aria. I try to use them sparingly. So if I do use them, I want to understand what they're doing. But so let's look. So let's see if this works. And then let's look. Okay. Okay, you're on the wrong thing, Angela. It works. So let's take a look here. So here's our button. Here's our button with the aria-expanded true because it's open. And then this button is visibility hidden because I don't want that to be available. I don't want it to be available when the menu is actually open. And we're getting that body class. When I tell you I've spent a long time, this last year has just been like a self-discovery of like my perfect system for navigation. I'm very pleased with the method that I've come up with and the system I've come up with. Nano Kia says you use live regions to provide screen reader descriptions for updating content. Let's see here. MDN aria live. Aria live regions. Okay. Using JavaScript, it is possible to dynamically change parts of a page without requiring, well, you said specifically aria. Okay. Dynamic content which updates without a page reload is generally either a region or a widget. Simple content changes which are not interactive should be marked as live regions. Simple content changes which are not interactive should be marked as live regions. A live region is explicitly denoted using the aria live attribute. Aria live. And so the attribute is a politeness setting, is used to set the priority with which screen readers should treat updates to live regions. The possible settings are off, polite, or assertive. This attribute is by far the most important. Normally, only aria live polite is used. Any region which receives updates that are important for the user to receive, but not so rapid as to be annoying, should receive this attribute. The screen reader will speak changes whenever the user is idle. Okay, so so hang on here. There's a sentence here. Simple content changes which are not interactive should be marked as live regions. So this is why I don't think I should be using aria live, just based on the documentation. Because I feel like the markup that we're using, the buttons and the nav elements, they are all doing their jobs. The button element, the navigation element, the fact that we have aria controls, aria-expanded. I feel like all of those things are doing their job, and based on that sentence, I guess I disagree that aria live should be used. I think of aria live as like a load more button when you load more content and there's a count on the screen, and that count gets updated, right? So the count is a non-interactive content change, and aria live announces the content change. That's how I think of aria live based on this documentation. My mind could be changed, but based on what I'm reading here, I don't think I would add an aria live. But I could be convinced if there's something I'm not considering. And thank you. I appreciate the suggestions. I honestly appreciate any opportunity that I have to... Oh, you are misremembering something. Okay. Listen, I appreciate any opportunity to read the documentation and interpret the information together. So that's just what I'm here to do. But my mind can always be changed. Okay, so here's the other thing that we need to do. This is not an accessibility requirement. It is an accessibility best practice. I always write a function so when the navigation is open, the user can hit the escape key to close the navigation, which really what we're doing is we're removing menu active. If menu active exists, we're removing menu active, and we are changing the aria-expanded from true to false. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to write a function that just says escape toggle. And again, I'm going to look for that open button. And if we don't see the open button, we're just going to return and quit. So we'll do another document, add event listener, and we're looking for the key down event. And if that key is equal to escape and the body class contains, and contains is a Boolean, so we're just looking for menu active. Then we are going to body class list remove. Menu active. And on that open button, we're going to set the attribute of aria to back to false. And again, that is a string. So when we hit that key, if the key is the escape key and the body has the menu active class, go ahead and remove the active class. That's going to take care of all of our CSS and animate closing the navigation, the drawer, and we're going to change back the aria-expanded from true to false on the open button. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So let's give it a shot. All right, here's my mouse. I'm going to hit escape. Boom. We love it. Listen, there's lots of things you can do with navigation. We could have a click event outside the nav element. You can do whatever you want. This is what I do. To me, it meets accessibility standards. Like I said, the escape key is not a requirement. It is a nice to have. I am comfortable with this process and this system. And I've tightened it up over probably the last 6 months or so. I feel like it gets a little tighter every day. So, or every time I do it. Let's do one more quick thing, which is, let's just do like a little copyright date down here, which we did put in some markup for that. So we have here a span with an ID of year. And we'll just get, we'll get the year. And get the element by the ID. And we'll get the date, which is new date. The method is get full year. And then we'll just check and make sure that that markup exists. So if there's no year, just go ahead and return. Otherwise, the date text, hang on here, date Angela. The date text content is equal to the year. No, the year text content. I think I got those backwards. Is equal to the date. There we go. So now we have a nice little dynamic date. That's about it for the global JavaScript. So each of these folders, each of these days is going to have its own JavaScript file. Yeah, I put those in here. I might do this offline. Where are we at on time here today? I guess we're only at an hour. That seems especially tedious to me to do that during the stream. So I think I'll organize my folders offline and just have that ready for Tuesday when we do the deployment. And then I can walk you through it beforehand. Let's go ahead and commit this and take a quick look-see on mobile. We should check a couple other browsers, and then I want to get Prism added in here. That's kind of like the last thing that I want to do. Yeah. What did we do? JS for main nav and copyright date. Git push origin main. Okay. Okay. I love it. I love it. What do we think? Still want to do my border. All right, let me get my phone. Get my phone. I'll take a look and see how things look. Stop. Oh my gosh, too many chords. So here's how we're looking. Honestly, I think it looks great. I'm super happy with it. I do want to figure out how to do the border that I want, but oh wait, why isn't that working? Hang on, why did I what did I do? Oh, the wrap. I took out my wrap. That's why. Okay, did I screw anything else up by doing that? I don't think so. Didn't even think of that. Okay. So we need to do another commit. Fixing about me layout. Okay. Oh yeah, we need to do this too. I might do some of those things offline. Or we could do this, we could do our open graph tags on Tuesday, because it's not going to take us. We've done deployment now a few times and we have that process like locked down. So I don't think that, I think it would be, we could do our open graph meta tags on Tuesday. We also need a 404 page. So we'll do a little, we're going to do some QA. We'll do a little light restructuring. I I want to make sure that the page we're currently looking at, oh, we also need to like tighten up some of our title stuff. We'll get to it here. I want to make sure that our little UI components page has its own folder and that we're ready with our day one button counter. And we also need to get Prism in here. We got stuff to do. We're going to be here. We're going to be here for a minute. Malik says, impressive work today. Should be all prepared for the first. Yeah, I think we're going to be ready to go too. Let's this would be a good time to remind people, hey, go ahead and like the video if you haven't already. I would sure appreciate it. Subscribe if you're not already. I'm here 4 days a week, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. Of course, we're getting ready for the 30 days of vanilla JavaScript. The site that I'm currently building is the site that's going to support the project. Where is it here? Here it is. And yeah, we're going to be here every day in the month of April, just working on JavaScript prompts. And then we will deploy that every single day to 30daysofvanillajavascript.com. And I would love to have you. So, whoopsies. I seem to do that every single time. Okay, give me a moment here. I'm going to pull this up. Oh, stop. Chrome. Okay. There it is. All right, I like it. Honestly, this is a really good mobile experience. So we'll tighten up some of what's going on in that header a little bit for smaller screens. I'm on an iPhone 13, I think. It's like 4 years old, 5 years old. There's our navigation. We can scroll through. We've got our social media on the bottom. Oh, it looks fantastic. I effing love it. Yeah, I mean 30 pages plus the component page. We definitely want a 404 page. I love it. We have a nice sticky header. Well done. I would like to have a divider. Okay. Give me a moment here. I'm going to put this in the chat and then let's look on Safari mobile. So if you would like to look, you are more than welcome to. Thank you, Malik. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Copy. So here's how we look on Safari. Boy, it's definitely a different experience, isn't it? Take this down. I'm into it. I'm into it. Let's make sure on desktop that we are getting the tabbing behavior that we want. We should also make sure on desktop that Malik says it works well for him. Good. Good. Thank you for checking that. Let's make sure that this also works on Firefox and Safari desktop. What you doing? Come here. Yeah. Should lay down and take a nap. All right, so here's Firefox. The things we styled are working correctly. Oh yeah, this was a good idea. I'm glad I decided to make this a fixed sidebar. I think that was a good choice. I like it. Okay, let's check Safari. I mean, there's not that much to check, because it's pretty simple. Oh, we also need to check and make sure that our colors are all transitioning correctly, because we've got blue and pink also based on body classes. I love it. I love it. All right, well, there's my quick and dirty QA. All right, what's next? I think we need to, let's just quickly check and make sure that our body classes for the colors are all working. We'll do that first. Let's see, this is our, oh, we need to change this border for the image. I think we caught everything else though as we were working. There weren't big changes. They were not. I love it. I really, really like it. It's not super fancy, but I still just really enjoy it. I don't know. This never gets old to me. Seeing my work in the browser never gets old. All right, so let's update the CSS just for that border. That's like the only thing that we missed. Right here. So for the navy, this is going to be light navy. And for the pink, there we go. That works. And then that works. And then, of course, if there's no body class, there really isn't anything associated with teal. So if there's no body class, the default is teal. And then for every page that we create, we're just going to add the body class of whatever it is that we want the page color to be. So a little variety, if you will. Okay. So we've tested mobile, Chrome and Safari. We've tested desktop, Chrome, Safari, Firefox. Quick and dirty, but we did look. We checked to make sure that our body classes are working. Our navigation, responsive navigation is working. We can scroll within view, so our overflow scroll is working for that navigation also. Very happy with that. Let's tighten up what's happening in the header. So there's two things I want to do. This right here. So I'm pretty sure that I kind of remember clamping this. This is when I was using, the old style. I want to make this, I think I'm not going to clamp this. I don't think there's a reason to. So let's check and see. So that is the page title. Right here. Maybe we would do a little bit. It was pretty aggressive before. So I actually think that this could just be bigger. Yes. I like that. 1.75. All right, good. Page title. Done. Okay, so now the logo. Primary logo. Right here. This right here is the reason that this is resizing, which is what I wanted when I initially did this. So what is I think the default size is 3 rems by 3 rems because that is what I do for my SVGs globally. And I think that I don't want to do this now. So I'm just gonna do this. Want it to stay exactly what it is. And I want this font size, instead of staying fixed, I want this to clamp instead. Let's try it. So maybe it would clamp down to 1 rem. These are fussy values. So well, I don't even know if this is going to work. Gotta try it though. Oh, but this would be, well, honestly, this would be maybe be more like this. I feel like that kind of works. Look at that. That's the best I've ever done that. And the logo still, why is the logo still resizing if I I don't know. I don't know. So that logo still resizes, which I think is weird. I don't know why it's doing that. But it all works. Kind of all works. What if this was 1.1? It's very subtle right there, but it works. Look how well that holds up, even down to like 300. Wow, I'm here for it. All right. That's all I wanted to do with that. So I'm going to take this out. It's still, the SVG is still resizing. Not sure why, because it's got a fixed width. Could be because of Flexbox. I don't know. This is one of those times where it's working in something that is kind of mysterious to me is working in my favor, so I'm just not going to worry about it. Let's go ahead and push this. And then let's work on some structural things. Like let's make a 404 page, and then let's make a page for our day one and the components, the UI components. So I'm going to say git add git commit and we'll say improved styles for the header. Git push origin main. All right. I love it. Okay, what else? So this is the page that's sort of that is going to be the template for all future pages, right? So let's copy a couple of these. So first of all, the root page is day one. There is no day one folder. The URLs are going to be 30daysofvanillajavascript.com/day-02 and so on and so forth. Let's make a copy of this page as a 404 page. And it's just going to be 404.html. GitHub Pages has the way you deal with 404 pages. I up until very recently thought the 404 pages were handled by the browser. They are not. They're handled by the server. So locally, testing a 404 page doesn't really work, especially with a very simple local server like VS Code, like live server on VS Code. So we'll test this on GitHub Pages, but again, GitHub already has a server configuration that looks for a 404.html in the root and knows how to handle that. When we deploy on Tuesday, we will add something to our Apache configuration file. You can either do it in an htaccess file, which I have done in the past, or you can add it to the Apache virtual host file, which is probably what we'll do. You can do both. It doesn't really matter. So we will do that on Tuesday, and we'll obviously test that once it is deployed to 30daysofvanillajavascript.com. And so there's that. Okay, so what do we want the content for our 404 page to be? We're officially on the 404 page. So we don't want the do we want the H1 of the 404 page to be? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that this is going to be a div. The H1, the logo, the primary logo is only an H1 on the home page. On all inner pages, the title of the page is the H1. That's why we style according to the class and not the element. So we changed this to a div. Here is our navigation, social media markup. Here's the page nav. And then here's the page title. So I'm going to change this to an H1. And we're going to call this the 404 error page. And we'll say something like, oops, that page wasn't found. Try clicking one of the links to the left. And then we don't need this content, so I'm going to delete it. I'm going to leave in the About section because I want that to be on every page. So we can at least visit now 404.html. We can't really test it. Yeah. So that's it. That's all that page is going to be. And then, of course, I have to fill this in. I don't want to make too many pages. I'm going to have to copy that on everything. So I'm not going to make too many pages today. Okay. So there's our 404 page. Let's do this. 404 error. Oops. And we do have to remember to come back and deal with this. Don't really feel like doing it now. So you can see there, we have our title. Okay, good. Let's make a folder called UI components. And then here's our index, what we've been working on. We're going to save as into that folder. we can go to, oops, that's not what I wanted. UI components. Oh, and of course we have to make sure, oh shoot, I forgot to do, so we're in a folder now, which means that we have to change our paths, right? So this is going to be totally forgot to do that on the 404 page. I knew that was too easy. All right. So let's go back to our 404 page and we'll come back to this. Close this. On the 404 page, we also have to set a base URL. For GitHub Pages, we have to append. So normally, like when we deploy to 30 days of vanilla javascript.com, we can just put a slash in here to let the page know that the base URL, what is just basically the root URL. On GitHub Pages, though, we have to include the directory where that page lives, right? So for testing, before we deploy, we're just going to say 30 days of vanilla JavaScript and make sure that you include the slash so GitHub knows that it's a directory. And this is the name of the repo, the URL. So we will test this, but we do need to have that base URL. These paths are all correct. And then of course our image. Yeah, this is correct because 404.html lives in the root. So this is also correct. Okay. So let's go back to UI components. We have to fix our image as well. We're going to have to do this on all of the inner pages, but that's why we're setting up a template, just like this. Are you with me? I think you're with me. Yeah, this all looks good. Okay, so now, again, we have to make sure that this is a div. I want to make sure that this is a div. And then we want to make sure that this is the H1. Because it's the page title. Component UI elements. Let's change this to UI components. And I'm going to work on content offline between now and Tuesday because we have a lot of lorem ipsum here. So, all right, UI components. Let's also make sure that this is linked in our navigation. And we have to do this in two places now because we have 2 pages. Well, technically we have 3 pages. So I don't want to do, yeah, let's nail down a few things here, Angela. So we are on our UI components page. Let's get this into our navigation. We have to put it on the 404 page and the home page. So Angela, do not create any more pages till you remember all this stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, right? Every time we add, well, no, I feel like we have our nav items. Yeah. Let's update this navigation. There's no reason to not put these links in here and create the folders now. Yeah. Oh, that didn't work. Day. Nope, that didn't work either. Day. Okay. There we go. 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Oh, can't forget Prism. We're going to do that next. Okay, so we have all our links. Let's just take out the description, although we're going to have to update that for every page. But we could just do like a global find and replace too. Static is not a perfect solution. I will never say that it's a perfect solution or that you should only build static, because there are drawbacks. And that's okay. We're gonna have to get used to doing like a global find and replace to update some of the nav items. The links are here, but we don't know what all the prompts are. I'm fine with that. We don't need to know what they are. We just need to know what the first 10 are. And then I think the last thing I want to do is just put in that link for, oh gosh darn it, Angela, stop. I want to put in the link for UI components. Yeah, and I can just live down at the bottom here. The other thing I'm wondering about is a canonical tag. And I've actually thought of this a few other times. And it's just because we're starting to build multi-page websites, although the reality is every page has two URLs. Here's what I mean. Right now, the browser says UI components / because it knows to just look in the folder, and it's really looking for index.html, home.html, or default.html. I think the convention is index.html. It finds it, it displays it. But guess what? Technically, there are two URLs, because you can also have index.html. So it's not generally a good idea to have a page that with multiple URLs. This is what we do in deployment, right? We've got HTTP, HTTPS, we've got www, non-www, and we're writing up rules in our Apache virtual host files to account for all of that, to do those redirects, right? You do need to do something similar, not Apache redirects, but in the same spirit of telling the browser what is the correct URL. So the way you do that is with a canonical tag. So let's look at that documentation. MDN canonical meta tag right here. Let's see if we can find canonical. Canonical. CANON CANONICAL. Just show me the canonical. Okay, let's read this. The canonical meta tag is technically incorrect terminology. The proper implementation uses a link element with the attribute rel canonical inside the head section of an HTML document, not a meta tag. Okay, well, that's why we can't find the attribute. The rel canonical link specifies the preferred or canonical version of a web page among a set of duplicate or very similar pages. This helps search engines like Google consolidate link signals and link juice to a single authoritative URL. Avoid treating duplicate content as spam or low quality, which could negatively impact search rankings. The whole point of this is to rank well in search. I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm doing this. Ensure that users see the intended primary URL in search results. Optimize the crawl budget, allowing search engines to focus on crawling unique content rather than multiple copies. So really what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put a link in the head. The href attribute must contain the full absolute URL, including HTTPS and www or non-www as desired, of the chosen canonical page. So let's make sure that we have canonical links. And honestly, we should just add this to the list of things that we should be doing, right? So for this page, UI components, it's going to be it's going to be 30 days of vanilla javascript.com/UI components/ That's the canonical URL for this page. And I guess while we're here, we can go ahead and just write a description. You know what? I'm going to wait and do Open Graph meta tag information, I think, offline, because I need time to think about some of this strategy. So these things are here. They will be updated. I also need to make sure that I have an image that I want to use. Even though this is not really like an image focused website, there still needs to be an image, and I just need a little time to think about that. So I'm going to do that offline, and then I will update you on what all of these things are going to end up being. So let's go ahead and update. First, let's update. Well, let's just, Angela, take a breath. One moment, please. Let's say hello to a couple of people in the chat. Monique Robinson is here. Greetings. She says she lost track of time. That's okay. That's just fine. We're happy to have you. And Malik says, it has been over 1 month in my internship, and I can confirm the most annoying part of development is working with other people. Some people are very nice, some just don't care at all. Yeah, sounds about right. I've worked with more than my share of developers who just don't seem to care at all, which is wild to me. I mean, listen, I hate to be that person who answers the question, "What's your greatest weakness?" I care too much. I hate being that guy, but I do genuinely care about things, and I get pretty annoyed when I have to work with people who just don't seem to give a shit at all. It's frustrating because I have a hard time not at least trying to get things right. So get used to that feeling, my friends. But I don't know. It would appear that your internship is going well. You're learning a lot from it. So I think that that's good, right? Okay, so we're still on our UI components page. Let's update our title. UI components. I'm going to come back in and do the structural stuff offline. So we're just going to focus on these 3 pages for today. Let's grab our navigation, which is basically filled in here. Well, except for this, right? The active page, since we're on the UI components, is actually this right here, right? There it is. There's our, oh, you can't see because my head's in the way. There's the UI components link with the You Are Here navigation. I also need to fill in the URLs for the social media. I'm going to do this. Make a copy of this. And then here's our 404 page. And of course, this is not going to be active. There is no, the 404 page is not part of the navigation, so there's no active link. That's fine. Let's make sure that we have our, I'm going to put in our canonical link. Well, do we need a canonical link for the 404 page? It's not inside of a directory. There's only one link, so I don't think we need to include that for the 404 page. So our 404 page has a title, doesn't need a canonical. The primary logo is a div. The page title is an H1, and the navigation is up to date. So I think our 404 page is done. Plus we have our base href. We just have to remember as part of our QA process that we check to make sure we test the 404 page and we change this to just a / for the root URL once we deploy it to our production server. Yeah. And then I think our UI components page is good, right? We've got our title. We have our canonical link. Our primary logo is a div. Our navigation is up to date, including the active class. And our header, our H1 page title is an H1. That's good. Okay, so now let's actually look at our day 1 index.html. So the title is just going to be 30 days of vanilla JavaScript. The primary logo is the H1 just for the purposes of the home page. Is this still on my clipboard? Yes. So I'm going to take this active class off again. So our navigation is up to date, including the day one, the root. That's good. Our page title is actually going to be an H2. This is going to be an H2, and all of the headings inside the sections are going to be H2s. And this is going to be day one. What is day one? Button counter. So you may have a different SEO strategy with your H1s, your H2s, your logos, your page titles. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it. I mean, I think there's a best practices way to do it. I think what's more important is that you pick a way and you just remain consistent. That is my recommendation. So I'm only going to leave the first two sections on here for buttons and counter, and we're going to take off the sections. We're going to take off the sections, the remaining sections. And then if we need to go find sections or build out additional sections, we do all of that on the UI components page. That's where everything gets preserved. And then let's make sure that we have our canonical link for the home page. And of course, this would just be the root URL, just like that. So here's our home page. H1 is the logo. And the text, 30 days of vanilla JavaScript. Our navigation is up to date. Day one is the active class. It's the root URL. Page title, day one button counter is an H2. So there's that. Yeah, I think I am going to do a little bit offline here. I might film it and include it in the project video, or I might just do a recap. We'll see. So let's go ahead and push this, and then let's test it on GitHub and make sure that we're seeing what we just did appear correctly in the browser. So git status, git add, git commit, 404 page, inner pages, and structure, I think is a good way to describe this. Git push, origin, main. All right, we'll give that a second to percolate. I guess we do have a QA list here. Should we include social sharing icons? Oh, I didn't include that, did I? Remember to update the Open Graph meta tags. Structured data, god darn it. So, okay, so link canonical tags. This is done. Need to add, and I forgot to add Prism. We're running out of time. Maybe I'll just do a couple of those things offline. Does anybody care? Does anybody care if I do things offline? Just the structural stuff? I mean, technically we have time to do Prism. All right, we'll do a little testing. Let's see here. Roha Chan is here. Tuned in kind of late, but just wanted to say hi. Looking forward to the new series. Well, thank you. Roha is a mod over on Christian Codes. Christian Codes is killing it right now. So if you want to see, I mean, I think Christian streams every day, sometimes twice a day, and his numbers are outstanding. He's absolutely killing it. So if you want to see somebody, a new dev learning, I think he's working on React and Tailwind right now. He is just absolutely killing it with his views. So happy for him. And yeah, that's where I met Roha. Roha. over on the Christian Codes YouTube channel. Okay, so one thing I just realized that I wanted to do is make sure that my logo is linkable back to the home page, right? So let's do that. So we're gonna have to do it in 3 places, right? Because we've created 3 pages. So once again, Angela, don't create any more pages till you got this figured out. Because every time you make a change, every time you change something, you have to do it in all those places. So, okay. So I'm just gonna, oh, excuse me. Okay, so we have an anchor element wrapped around our SVG and our text. That should be fine. Let's see here. And of course, we have to account for that with some of our styles. I think it's because the primary logo has flexbox, right? Yeah. So we'll say primary logo anchor element. We just have to change that wrapper. And then let's just invert the focus hover active. So this is going to be text decoration. Well, text decoration color is going to be transparent. And we're going to have to rewrite these. That's fine. So we want the focus first. Then the hover. Then the active. And then we're going to do text decoration color. It's going to be white. And we have to redo the transition for this. Transition. Text decoration. Color. 300 milliseconds. Ease in out. There we go. So now we're linking back to our home page. So we have our styles there. Now we just need to make sure that we have this on all 3 pages. So this is the root right here. Let's make sure that we have this on our 404 page. Test that. Oh, we have to set our base URL. There we go. So that works. I want that to be optimized for GitHub until we actually do our deployment. And then let's check the component page. Look at that, we have working navigation. That's kind of cool. So we can go from our component page. Oh, and we have to, you can see here, because this is an H1 on the home page, it's getting bold, it's getting additional margin, and that's because we changed the styles, I've made this mistake so many times, I don't even have to look. I already know what I did. Yeah, it's because we changed all of these styles from just the primary logo H1 to the child, the anchor element, which is fine. Primary logo. We just want to make sure that put our margin here. And also the font weight, which I don't think I noticed before. So probably what, 400? So here's our home page, the H1. There we go. And there's our inner page where it's a div. Beautiful. Look at that. We have navigation, working navigation. What else? Yeah, we're not gonna get to structured data. So I mean that's something that I definitely want to do on future sites. So canonical tags is done. I will do this offline. I kind of would like to do social sharing. Yeah, social sharing buttons and Prism. And we have the JavaScript for social sharing icons. You know what? I just had an idea. Since this is a JavaScript challenge, the social sharing icons is JavaScript, Prism.js is JavaScript. Let's just do it when we work on the first couple challenges, because the first couple challenges are a button counter and a character count. I mean, the first couple challenges are relatively easy. They're not going to take 2 hours to complete. God help me if a button counter takes 2 hours. I mean, anything's possible. So let's add JavaScript elements for the site itself while we're working on the JavaScript prompts. Yeah? What do we think? How about also if we make one of the prompts the social sharing icons, which we've already done that before, so that we already have that, right? We did that on the Scenic website and we wrote JavaScript to do that. So we can just repeat that and we can make that as one of the prompts. Scenic. Yeah. So let's just include that as one of the prompts. And then let's go ahead and add Prism. I'm just going to say let's add Prism on day 1 when we do the button counter. Because I just don't think that the button counter is going to take 2 hours. So let's add Prism, do the button counter, and then we can go ahead and get our stuff in place, right? We can get our code block in place. We've done that before too, so that's not a new thing to implement. I love it. I love it. Yes, JavaScript. Okay, we have a plan. Okay, let's commit this. One more commit. Let's close some of these. We'll call it a day. So really the main stuff that I need to do offline is I'm going to work on some of the SEO stuff. I'm going to finish flushing out like my folders and stuff like that. I'm going to fill in the Open Graph information, things like that. Little more behind the scenes busy work. I might just go ahead and film that and include it in the project video, but yeah, not necessarily stream it. So I think it's still important enough to include, but I think it's slightly less consequential. Let's go ahead and commit. And then let's just go ahead and test the 404s on, shoot, did I change that back? Yes. We'll test the 404 pages on GitHub Pages. And I think we're in really good shape. Structural updates. I like it. Okay, let's close these. Let's shut this down. We'll give this a second to percolate. We didn't need ChatGPT at all today, did we? I don't think so. We figured everything out ourselves. We read some documentation. Feeling very good about what we got done today. Yeah. So here's our UI components page. Whoops. Oh, I screwed up the URLs for GitHub Pages. What? Yeah, I think I screwed up the URLs for GitHub Pages. Because I put a slash in front of everything. Okay. Okay, so here's what I did wrong. I put a slash in front of everything when I think I should not have done that. So we're gonna fix that and push again, and I think that's what I did. So we wanted to look for this directory where it currently sits, not, I think this is the better way to handle this. Does this work? Let's just push up this and see if that's, this is one of the downsides to a URL that has a directory appended to it as the root of your staging site. That's the part that can get really complicated when this is your staging and you're deploying, when you're using absolute and relative URLs. Well, not absolute, but relative URLs. Yeah, because when I hover on this as the root, you can barely see it down in the corner, but it says github.io. It doesn't include this. That's annoying. What's the best way to deal with that? Probably the current directory, right? So dot slash, is that the best way to deal with that? Let's just push this up and see how GitHub likes that. I want something that works both on GitHub and the production site. I think this will work. I think this will work. Link URL has for GitHub Pages. Oh, and we're going to have to do that for here too. Well, let's check and see if it works first, and then we can update this and all the other pages. Part of the process, right? To me, here's how I look at this. These problems can be annoying, but this is how the internet works. That's how I choose to think of it. This is how the internet works. So ultimately, these are really good exercises. So stay positive. Okay. That worked. So I can see it down in the corner. So can we click UI components now? Yes. Can we click the button counter page? Yes. No. Hang on. No, because it's not fixed on that page, but it did work. Okay, so we have our answer. So we're on the home page. Let's fix everything here. So it's going to be a dot slash, and of course we're going to have to test that once we get into production, but I think this will support our production URL structure as well. So I think that's all we have to do for the home page. Let's take care of the 404 page. So we want dot slash. We want to add a dot in front of all of these. So we're looking for the root of the current directory, not just the root URL, right? Okay. Same with our UI components page. Another reason why you don't create 30 pages until you have all of this stuff nailed down. It's stressful enough to manage it on 3 pages. Okay, I think this will solve our problem. Fixing the relative URLs for navigation. Okay. We'll give this a second. Give this just a moment. Okay, one moment, hold please. Let's see how things are shaking out. So when I hover on this, I'm seeing the correct link down in the corner. No, I'm not. I'm seeing this is the link to the current page. Yeah. It should be up one. That's fine. Okay, that's good. So note to self. This is also wrong. Because it's treating the current directory, so that was not the right way to do it. So honestly, it's just the difference between pages that live in the root and pages that have their own directory, right? So for UI components, which lives in a directory, it has to be up one, and then it has to look in the root. So I think we can test this locally. I'm not a quitter. I'm not a quitter. I won't quit. So let's just start with UI components locally. Let's close that. I just don't want to push anymore. Okay, so we're on the UI components. If we hover here, we're getting the root URL. Same here. Is that going to work on GitHub Pages? I think so. I suppose one way to test that is to just create a directory. I mean, that's... So if it's an inner page, I think this is what it needs to be. .. / to go up one. And then for the index, that's the root of the current directory, not the root URL, the root of the current directory. So I think this is correct for the home page, and I think this is correct for the 404 page. That works. That works. That works. Okay, I think we might finally have this. Have I sold you yet on the idea that you should try building a static website? What do you think? Okay, git add, git commit. I think I finally have these URLs right. give it a second to percolate. Okay. No, dang it, this is still wrong. Is it just not? There, okay, it just hadn't refreshed yet. Okay, so this is correct right here. This is correct. Day one link is correct. It's github.io/30 days of vanilla JavaScript, UI components, github.io 30 days of vanilla JavaScript /UI components. Okay. Now, what is it? Yep, that's correct. And that's also correct. Excellent. So the home page and day one are basically the same thing. And we can go back and forth between UI components. Yes, okay. So now let's just check 404.html and make sure that this is correct. Yes, I think we finally got this right. So that's correct. Day one is correct. Also, 30 days of vanilla JavaScript.com or / and UI components also correct. Okay, so here's where we actually test the behavior of a 404 page. The whole point of 404 is that somebody types in a URL that is wrong and the server throws out a status message, error 404, right? Like redirect is 301 or a successful message is 200. Error 404 means that URL is not found. So what's a great example of that? UI components / whoops, hang on. Something that like just doesn't exist, like just gibberish, just like this. There we go. A gibberish URL. And the reason we set a base URL is so our relative paths are preserved. Because when you use the base element, this is a relative path right here, the base element fills in the first part of the path, everything that comes before images / profile.jpg. That's why you have a base URL. And that's why you have to change it when you are in a GitHub page versus your domain where you ultimately deploy, because we are not going to have this in a directory. We are going to have this in the root of our domain. So there's that. Now here's the key. Also, our navigation, our logo, these are also relative URLs. So we're really relying on the base element to fill in the first part of that URL. So what is it? And I'm looking down in the corner. My giant head is in the way. It's correct. I'm seeing the correct path. If we didn't have the base element, it would be reading what's in this address bar here as the root URL. That's what it would be doing. It would be looking up there. So this is working as well. We got it right, guys. We did it. We got it right. So here's the takeaway. Here's the takeaway. Let's just click around a little bit. The takeaway is that we have our index.html and our 404.html. Those are set. They're good. We're good. We don't need to change anything. The UI components page is really going to work as our template for the remaining inner pages. And that is because we have our relative URLs in place to support inner pages and the correct linking throughout the site. So as the days continue and we update the navigation, we're going to rely on find and replace. to do this, because by the time we get down to days 20 something, I don't want to open up 20 pages and update the navigation. So we're going to rely on find and replace, and that's going to work because everything is a dot dot slash. Make sense? Good. All right. It's like a real website. What do we think? I like it. I'm here for it. Okay. I guess we're good for today. It was a very quiet day. That's cool. That's fine. I'm not complaining. Just an observation. We had a lot of nice people in the chat. I appreciate everybody who came to hang out with me. I got a little work to do myself between now and Tuesday. Tuesday is deployment day. Wednesday we start the 30 days of vanilla JavaScript challenge. Do me a favor. Like the video if you haven't already. I would appreciate it so much. It helps the algorithm, helps push this out to more people who might be interested in this type of content. I'm generally here 4 days a week, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday at about 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. However, for the month of April, we are doing something that I have called the 30 Days of Vanilla JavaScript. This is my attempt to start getting better at JavaScript. I'm going to stream every day in April, and every day we're going to complete a new prompt or challenge, and we're going to build it out, including the UI, and we're going to deploy it to said website right here that you're looking at, 30daysofvanillajavascript.com. Come back and hang out with me again on Tuesday this week. Tuesday, March 31st is going to be deployment day. We're going to set up a LAMP stack on DigitalOcean. And we've got documentation. We've done this before. So I do have a DevOps page in GitHub. I'll go ahead and pop this in the chat. We're going to follow the DevOps page for, we could either do FTP or rsync. It doesn't really matter. We're going to go ahead and follow this tutorial that I've written. We're going to update the DNS settings for a domain name, 30daysofvanillajavascript.com. We're going to deploy this to a LAMP stack, which is Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP on DigitalOcean. We're going to edit some Apache virtual host files. We're going to install an SSL certificate. We're going to do HTTP to HTTPS redirects. It's such a good time. It's such a good time. I want you to come and hang out. I want you to have that experience. I want you to feel the joy that I feel in deployment. I mean it when I say that. Deployment is something that I started learning right alongside HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, because I started learning in 2009, end of 2009, 2010. There was no one-click install. There was no Netlify or Vercel or whatever those solutions are. None of that existed. If you were learning web design, you were also learning how to set up a server. And I started with shared hosting. It was a good couple of years. When did I start really learning a VPS? 2014 is when I first started learning. So it took me a good 5 years to get off shared hosting. But even before I started learning how to run a VPS or a managed server, I had a shared hosting account. I was buying domain names. I was using FTP because there was no other way to see my work in the browser outside of a local environment. And what was the point of that? I was building websites to build websites, right? So I think for front-end developers, knowing how to do some DevOps and some deployment is really important. And I want you to have this experience. So come hang out with us on Tuesday this week, and I will show you how to do it, or I'll show you how I do it at least. So with that being said, everybody, have a great rest of your day wherever you are. The weather is beautiful here in Minnesota. So I'm going to take Heidi for a walk, get a little fresh air and exercise. I hope to see you all back here on Tuesday for DevOps Day. I hope that you can come hang out with me in April for 30 days of vanilla JavaScript. I think it's going to be a blast. And I will see you in my next one. Bye-bye.